Okay, in this demonstration, I am going to be pulling a series of spontaneous prints on the Gelli plate with index cards. And I'm going to be exploring, got a whole long list here with 7 different items. Color interaction, okay? So I am using golden paint, which everybody may not have. These over here are transparent paints. You can see those lines. Here's a golden that's opaque. Can't see the lines, okay? So I'm going to be playing with color interaction through transparency and then adding some opaque. And then, just to confuse things even more, I have 1 tube of the golden open acrylic, which all that means is it's slow drying, which is good for when it's hot, okay? And then I'm also going to show you, I mentioned this retarder. It slows the drying time. I'm going to add some directly to my other paints that are not slow drying. And then just to confuse things even more, there's going to be a point at which some of the paint dries on here. And actually, we want that. There's going to be something we do with that. So first step, I'm going to show you, I'm going to review rolling paint on, and I'm going to do it with the open acrylic, which has a slower drying time. That's where I'm going to begin. And I'm just going to work in this kind of a small section over here. So I'm going to put out not quite half a teaspoon, but about like that, okay? So to review, roll and roll. So back and forth, and you can even go this way. Now that's plenty of paint. Okay, now what you want it to look like, so you can see that the paint is evenly distributed. There's little, I call them tacky marks, or it looks like the surface of an ocean on a calm day. You want it, for the most part, you want this paint even unless you intend to have blobs. But I want you to practice even rolling out of ink. Then you're going to play with printing texture. So I'm going to do, got some bubble wrap here. Now there's ink on this side, so I can actually pull a print off of that. Then I'm going to use some corrugated cardboard on the upper half. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to pull. So you're going to get a lot of these. So there's print number 1. Now there's still more ink on here. I'm going to pull another one, and that's called the ghost print. Okay. Ghost print. Okay, now I'm just going to keep adding paint. There might be times, like if you wanted a super neat print, you would wash it, but then you'd have to dry it really well in between. I'm just going to keep going. So now I'm going to add this nickel azo, and some blending will occur with the paint. Okay, now I'm going to get rid, I can get rid of some of the paint on my brayer by just rolling it on a card, but don't throw that away. I can use that in a piece. Okay. So again, even rolling. Some of this paint is mixing, which I'm fine with. Okay, you can get other things like stencils. Here's a stencil. Sometimes I just roll on the back to pick up the ink on the front. Okay, so I like the way that's mixed. That's nice. All right. Then I pull this up. I'm gonna have my ghost print there. So tonight, if you haven't done this before, you're really, or even if you have, we're playing. See how many different textures you can get. I like the ghost print. Okay. What else? I'm just going to do some with maybe some straight color here. So I could print part of my cards. I don't have to print the whole thing. Okay, so now what's happening is I'm getting color interaction. Because this paint is transparent, I'm getting a bit of green there. So we're not composing anything tonight, we're exploring. Okay, now I'm going to do this fluorescent pink, and it's not an open acrylic. It's cooling off, so I don't really need to do this, but I'm just going to show you if it was really hot, then I could add a couple of blobs of that retarding agent and mix it with a palette knife, just right there. Or if I want, I could mix it off to the side on my palette paper. And I'm going to roll this out. It's a little bit too much paint. I can even take some and just roll it on the card. So direct printing. And I'm getting interesting color interaction there. Okay. Okay. You can make impressions with, it's a cap from something. And because this Gelli plate has some spring to it, I can push in. Okay. See what I get there. I'm going to do it on this book page. It's okay. I think the ghost print is going to be better. So some you will really like, and some it'll be just okay. Like I like that ghost print better. I've got some other colors going in there that I like. Okay, I'm going to put some of this opaque paint out, and then I'm going to do more stamping. Just direct stamping. And you can layer things. So I'm going to take this one and put it on top of that and see what I get. And I like this one. It has possibilities to me. Okay, and there's a little more paint. With that one. So we're printing, I call it printing painting. You just keep layering and see what you get. Okay, I'm going to direct paint because it is a painting class. We could also, for this, I'm going to add some retarder because I don't want this to dry too quickly. So here's the retarder. And I also like using these silicone spatula paintbrush things. Okay, so I'm just going to blob, blob, blob. And some people might say, well, why don't you just directly paint on the card? Well, something happens with the printmaking. The paint kind of squooshes out. So I'm going to put another color. Actually, I'll do two of these. I'll do a darker blue and then you'll see. Okay. And I have different size silicone spatulas, which are really nice on the Gelli plate because they just glide across the surface. Okay, so I've got that. I can also carve out areas if I want. Okay, let's see what that looks like over here. And I'm not even waiting for my paint to dry. I just keep going. Okay, there's one. And I'll do this other one. Actually, I'm going to do it on this pink paper. See what that looks like. So it's pretty endless. There's no right and wrong. Just keep layering until I get what I like. Okay. Have not really tried, actually, wait a minute. Okay, so now I've got this paint here and some dried paint here. If I put another color over it and pull a print, you'll see what happens. So I'm gonna go figure out what color here. I hope this works. What it's supposed to do is get the yellow, but also pick up the dried paint. Let's see if it works. I tested it earlier today and it worked. So you can do this deliberately. You could set down some sort of a pattern, dry it, and then put another layer of paint over. Hope this works. Okay, so it did. So, I mean, it's not the most beautiful piece, but it picked up the dried paint and then I got a background of this yellow. I hope that makes sense. Okay, one final thing. Two final things. I could paint directly with a brush. This is really nice because you're going to get all the textured brush marks. I can also scratch in a little bit using the tip of my palette knife. It's not sharp enough to destroy my jelly plate. That's good. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I like the brush. Okay, and then I think it's one more. All right. Okay, so in that video, she showed using a clean brayer to roll and pick up some paint. So I can do that. I could also, have not tried this before, get a damp rag. I'm thinking of erasing here. Get a damp rag and draw into the paint. I could also get a clean brush. I don't know if this is going to work. Just trying to pull out some paint. Okay, let's see if I can get some prints there. Okay, I like the damp rag. And this was just rolling, lifting up paint, but there's interesting ghost print down below that. Okay, and then what's on the plate is very interesting. I'll probably end up putting another layer. Okay, you know, I'll just do it one more time. Can't help myself. Okay, because I think it's dry enough and I want to make sure that you really get what you can do with dried paint. Okay, so that red circle's interesting. This area is interesting. And if you're wondering, what are we going to do with all of these? Don't worry, we got plenty to do with them. We'll be rearranging, recombining them. Okay, so look, there you go. That's a good example. And it's actually almost a nice finished piece. Lots of great things going on in there. Okay,